It is a labor-intensive sector with many players in the value chain. Employment potential huge.
Nimekuwa mkulima wa pamba sababu ndio tegemeo yetu ya kusomesha watoto.
We have 4,000 workers working on 2 shifts.
We have only tapped into 80% of the potential of textile capacities of this country.
Our biggest challenge has actually been the seed.
We will also look at Kenya's export market.
Direct routing brings costs down.
Most of the textiles that we're carrying right now are actually ending up in Texas.
Out of Kenya, we've really had remarkable success with the AGOA business.
It now takes 1 day to export cargo to New York. Previously, it will take about 3 days.
Kenya's untapped textiles industry. Welcome, I'm your host Alex Chamwada, and we begin with our fact sheet. On the fact sheet today, we focus on an American piece of legislation known as the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or what is commonly referred to as AGOA.
AGOA is an opportunity provided during the Clinton administration in the year 2000 for African countries to access their market duty-free, quota-free.
Under AGOA, there are 6,400 tariff lines, and the textiles industry is the biggest beneficiary.
We exported goods in 2017 around 574 million US dollars, or around almost 60 billion Kenya shillings, our exports to the US. 70% of that was under AGOA. Of that $574 million, what went under AGOA, 65% was textile and apparel.
AGOA has been extended 4 times, and it is expected to end in 2025.
Apart from textile and apparel, we have also coffee, we have tea, fruits and vegetables, macadamia, and a few other tariff lines. Actually, we don't go beyond 170 tariff lines out of 6,400 tariff lines that we have an opportunity to export.
Hence, the need to optimize the opportunity. But in the remaining years, what can Kenya do?
In this AGOA program, we want to especially reach out to counties, county governments, in terms of production of more commodities.
Apart from poor supply capacities, other challenges are lack of awareness and inability to meet international market standards. And those are the challenges sectors like textiles have to overcome if Kenya's dream of industrialization has to be realized. Let's begin from the farms, a farmer's perspective of the industry. And yes, I was in Kwale, and this is what I found out. Not so many people know that cotton can be grown in Kwale County, the coastal region of Kenya. Catherine Keyo has been at it since the year 2017.
Nimekuwa mkulima wa pamba sababu ndio tegemeo yetu ya kusomesha watoto.
Catherine is among Kwale residents who are benefiting from an initiative of Base Titanium Mining Company to improve livelihoods as part of its corporate social responsibility projects.
In our trials in 2014, we established that we could get between 800 to 1,000 kilograms of cotton from 1 acre from the trials which we did. They were participatory trials with the farmers. And it is from there when we decided to do cotton in this part of Kwale County. We started with a small number of farmers. We started with 5 farmers. We went to 19 farmers, 102, and then we started spreading now. Up to date, we are in 3 sub-counties of Kwale, where we have already been able to meet up to 2,000 farmers.
But the sector is facing many challenges, some related to production.
Changamoto ni nyingi. Hii pamba bila kuilimia ipatikane na manyasi, pamba yake naosa, hatupati kitu. Bila kupiga ndawa, hawa wadudu wanaharibu ile pamba yetu. Halafu mvua ikiwa nyingi, pamba inaharibika. Tunashukuru wakati mvua ikiwa ni kidogo, ndio tunapata pamba nzuri. Tunaweza letewa mbegu, tunapanda. Tukipanda mvua inakuja nyingi, zingine zinapotea. Asimei.
Our biggest challenge has actually been the seed, because the seed we get every year is from Makueni ginnery, and it is the same seed which has been recycled from the previous crop. And from that seed, we have realized that the diseases which were there in the previous year come to get established again in the crop which we plant. And that is the challenge which we believe will be over when we get BT cotton, which will be able to also fight the American bollworm, which is also a problem in cotton.
There are many gaps in the value chain that eventually affect prices, hence poor payment to the farmer.
It was a vibrant industry because of the policies that was established during the colonial days. And then when we got independent, there were people who were still vibrant to want to see things work for the economy. And that's why we set up institutions like Kikomi, which has since collapsed. We set up ginneries like the one in Busia, which is called Mulwanda Ginnery. There is one in Lamu, there is one in Makueni, there is all over the country, Malakisi in Bungoma. And all those ginneries, they were supposed to provide lint for forward linkages. And of course, the distance to transport the lint again was wanting, because if you have to go to weave your cotton that you have ginned in Bungoma, you have to take it to the weaving machine, which is Kikomi. Now that Kikomi is not there, people are taking all their cotton all the way to TSS in the coast region to do fabric production. So you find that there is a shortage of fabric for people to make garments. And then, of course, in the process, the people who are engaged in the value chain, they are not earning as much as they expect to earn.
Yet this is the sector that could contribute big time to employment and poverty eradication in the country, being highly labor intensive.
What we have done as a country is that we have only tapped into 80% of the potential of textile capacities of this country.
Let's now move on to another stage in the value chain, and we join Michael Simanji, who spent time at the export processing zone in Athi River, Machakos County, to understand what happens there.
Export processing zones, abbreviated as EPZ, are designated parts of Kenya that have been set aside to promote and facilitate export-oriented investments. According to the National Economic Survey of 2018, there are about 52,000 people employed in these zones. And it is in one of these exporting processing zones that Hela Intimates EPZ Limited is located. Based in Athi River, the company is known for its apparel manufacturing, design and innovation. Their products include t-shirts, boxes, vests and pants, all of which are made after orders are placed by their clients, most of whom are famous clothing brands based in the United States.
Our clients are CK, that is one of the brands. We have Tommy Hilfiger. We have Wrangler, that is pants for men. And we also have Dickies. Yeah, those are our major clients in the USA. When we get the orders, we receive the materials from various suppliers like China, Sri Lanka, Hong Kong.
Lucy says this choice of importing fabrics rather than sourcing them locally is determined solely by the preference of the client. This is majorly due to the fact that Kenya lacks the capacity to produce adequate amount of quality fabric required by most clients.
This place is the origin of every garment that is made here, because this is where cutting is done.
Okay.
We lay fabric in layers, like say 100 pieces. Then we will lay a pattern. Once a pattern is laid, the cutter will cut the garments according to the pattern. From the pattern, we get the curves, we get the body, we get the front, we get the back, all those parts. This is called a plotter paper. This is where the pattern is drawn. You can see the lines. So the person who's coming to cut will cut along those lines.
From laying and cutting, the next major stage is stitching. This is where assembly of the cut pieces is done.
We are doing Tommy Hilfiger t-shirt. Then we have Polo. We have a Polo t-shirt also, which is an affiliate of PVH also. We have CK Boxer, and we have also CK t-shirts. And on the other side, we have Dickies. Dickies is it's under Contour brands. We have around 4,000 workers working on 2 shifts. We have the day shift and night shift. One shift is 2,000, the other shift is 2,000.
After stitching, they are taken to the quality checking. There are people who know how to check the quality of the garment based on the requirements of the client. Yeah. So after they are taken there, the quality checkers will confirm all is okay. Then from there, it will be taken to FG, finished goods.
Finished goods.
Yeah.
So that is where the goods wait, lie in wait when you're about to export them abroad.
Yes, that is where they lie waiting for export abroad.
Hella exports about 200 to 300 pieces each month, most of which were exported via ship. But with the introduction of the non-stop flights from JKIA to JFK in New York, the company now has an alternative route.
Sometimes you find that we are behind shipment schedule. So when we are behind shipment schedule, we cannot produce on time because of the quantities we are producing. Now what we do, we go to the KQ and they take our brands directly to the USA. That means we are not late for shipment. When we are late for shipment, there are some chargeback which comes to our factory. So by KQ taking our flights directly to the US, we are avoiding that kind of chargeback, which is not a small amount of money.
Once the packaged goods that are to be exported by air are ready for export, they are handed over to Expolanca Freight Limited, which is responsible for making sure the textiles are delivered to the client on time.
Once that booking is confirmed, they will allow us to get in the shipment so that they will check, they will do the verification. And then we have to process the customs entry and all the required documentation, the documentation part of it. What documents are required for export? Commercial invoice, the packing list. We do a customs entry that is for the Kenyan customs purposes. After which we present those ones to the airline, they'll accept, they'll check whether our documents tally with what we brought, the shipment that we came with. Once everything is confirmed, they will tell us the flight details.
Now, after the process has been completed and the cargo has been placed into pallets like this one or containers like this one on my right, the next stop is on board the KQ002 non-stop flight from JKIA to JFK in New York City.
Fast forward to 9 p.m. local time, and we are still on the Textiles cargo trail. This is the Kenya Airways Dreamliner that will be taking off at 10:45 p.m. and the loading of the cargo is taking place before passengers are allowed to board. Even though these non-stop flights to New York have been in operation for only a year, the benefits have been tremendous.
We have seen a major improvement, and also majority of our clients now requesting that we should use KQ. This was not happening before.
Initially we used to make around 3.5 million US dollars, but now I think we are making about 5 million US dollars.
As you can now see, the textiles and other cargo are now safely on board. Next stop, JFK Airport in New York City. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Michael. And on that note, we take a short break. When we return, find me in New York as we continue with the cargo trail. Welcome back. We are now at the cargo section at the JFK International Airport, Terminal 4. We are following up on cargo airlifted from Nairobi via Kenya Airways non-stop flights with special attention to textiles. So this is part of the cargo that came into JFK from Nairobi, all that from Kenya Airways. So they are doing what is known as breakdown, that is sorting the cargo. That is textile, and I'm told flowers also came in. These are flowers from Kenya. Avia Cargo is Kenya Airways representative for cargo in the US.
Most of the textiles that we're carrying right now are actually ending up in Texas. They come into the United States, they arrive into JFK. Once they're in JFK, there is a transfer customs procedure. So it's transferred from the KQ customs to the truckers customs. We then organize trucks to go from New York down to Dallas. Dallas is the biggest destination currently. You could have something land here, let's say on a Monday, and by Wednesday it's in Dallas. So a truck from New York to Texas is around 32 hours.
Kenya Airways has great potential for cargo business not only from Kenya but Africa at large.
Out of Kenya, we've really had remarkable success with the Goa business, where a lot of garments into the US are produced through the export processing zone. We really have moved over 640 tons out of our African network into the US. We have partnered with a trucking company here known as Forward Air. They're doing the intra-US distribution for KQ Cargo, and in fact we have actually delivered more cargo beyond JFK than JFK itself. So this is a really remarkable success. We estimate our market share into the US is in the region of about 35 to 40%. And this is really a huge milestone for KQ Cargo. This really is the size of the pie out of the Kenyan market, total exports into the US. We started with a situation where the payload was really restricted. The initial estimates we had was about 2 tons per flight, but gradually the payload has been improving. Operational support has really worked with us, and we on some flights actually moving 7 tons, 8 tons, and I think at the moment the record stands at about 12 tons on one flight. So this is really remarkable success in terms of this traffic lane.
According to the Cabinet Secretary for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Peter Munya, Kenya's share in the USA Free Trade Window for products under the African Growth and Opportunity Act is set to grow further following the introduction of direct flights from Nairobi to New York.
Kenya has been doing very well. Kenya has been a leader in terms of accessing the market in the US, especially on apparel, clothes and garments that are largely produced in our export processing zones. If you look at, for example, this year's statistics, that sector grew by 14%. And in terms of volume, it grew by 19%. Largely driven by exports of apparel and clothing to the US. Before the direct flights, those commodities or produce or items were being transported in a long route because there were no direct routes. So direct routing brings costs down and makes it us sell more volumes, and makes us sell even other produce that we've not been selling, that we have been selling through other markets.
But Charles Kalomba, an analyst with knowledge in the textiles and apparels industry, says there is a flip side to this success, or the irony of quality textile products being produced in Kenya but returning as second-hand clothes, commonly known as mitumba.
The US has a bigger population than Kenya. Then US, they don't put on second-hand clothes for a long time like Kenyans. And of course, whatever they remove to change to the new ones, they don't need it because they don't have a dumping ground, so it goes to Kenya to replace what they get as new. The economy is strong, so they can afford it. Very few Kenyans, in fact, even people in the office, very few can afford new clothes because the cost of clothes in this region, they are very expensive. So they would go for mutumba because mutumba will long last, and when it long lasts, it is also cheaper and is attractive, is appealing, because of the way it has been done in design. So what we are lacking as a country, even product design systems, so that if you have a garment or a fabric How do you get a design to make a quality shirt with a good design that can attract market?
Back to the status of cotton farming in Kenya, and as indicated in part 1 of this show, most of the raw material or fabric used at the export processing zone is imported.
We are now currently, like from this year, we are producing for both the domestic and for the external market. Because part of what we produced last year, we sent a bit to Rivertex, and we are also exporting to earn foreign exchange for the country. We are taking to Australia, cotton on. After here, we take it to Bangladesh for spinning, and then after that, it's now taken to cotton on to make clothes like the ones we are wearing.
Kenya is unable to produce adequate and quality fabric locally, and to make matters worse, the little lint from cotton that is grown by farmers is exported, then imported as fabric.
If you look at Rivertex, the way Rivertex, the potential of Rivertex, then you can grade it as a sleeping giant. If we arise Rivertex very well and look at Kikomi and revamp Kikomi, then look at KTM, Kenya Textile Mills, and then this country will take off. And then just allow the farmer to earn well. Because when the farmer is earning well, the farmer will never think about anything else.
In conclusion, the textiles industry has historically been the pioneer industry that drives industrialization around the world. And if Kenya takes this tradition seriously, she could become an industrialized nation sooner than expected.
And if you look at Big Four agenda, manufacturing is key. So manufacturing, when you talk about manufacturing, you look at cotton. If cotton goes to the market as raw, is not value added, then we are losing as a nation. So it's only manufacturing. Through manufacturing, we shall create the jobs, we shall create the wealth, we shall do the GDP, we shall do import substitution. So you look at the whole chain, you find only the manufacturing pillar is key for this country. Because a country that is not manufacturing is not growing.
And that's how we end this show today. Kenya's untapped textiles industry, many lessons there. Remember, we began this journey from the farms, a farmer's perspective in Kwale, and we've ended in the US, Kenya's largest export destination for the textiles products. Remember, you can watch this show again on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire Chams media crew that made this production possible, and our broadcasting partner, KTN News, many thanks for watching.